Breakups. To be honest with you, it's never easy breaking up with someone. Nor is it ever easy receiving a breakup from somebody. But sadly, these are the things that do happen in life sometimes. So when it comes to Matthew and Greta, well, like I said before, sometimes breaking up with someone isn't easy. Especially given the fact that this is now Greta's reaction after breaking up with Matt. Yeah.
It's just all starting to hit me. Like I left like a really good guy to do this crazy thing, and it's really kind of starting to freak me out.
But here's the thing though, even though she's acknowledging that she's left a guy that she believed was a very good guy, it doesn't necessarily mean that her choice was the wrong choice. Because look at it this way, every single day somebody breaks up with someone that is generally a good person. But they break up and leave that person purely because, well, there's something that's missing from that person. And that's just how it works, right? We can't stay in a relationship just because somebody is a good person. Do you see what I'm saying? They have to be able to fill in the gaps. They have to be able to make us feel complete. They have to be able to add value to our lives. They have to be able to just give us that it factor that we're looking for, that we're looking to fill. And when we don't get that, well, then we decide to walk away. Meanwhile, there are a lot of people that will still stick around with somebody who is a good person, but they know that person truly isn't for them. Truly doesn't necessarily, make them feel complete, make them feel that it factor. And sometimes when people stay in those relationships, they end up growing to either not necessarily resent that person, but they kind of start looking at that person as, I'm only really here because of my, you know what I mean? And to make it worse, sometimes when people do stick around with somebody just because that person is a good person, just because that person is an influence that they need, well, because they can potentially get bored at some point, these people end up stepping out and having affairs and etc., etc. So that's why it's very important to not just be with somebody just because they're a good person, okay? It's important to be with somebody because they fulfill whatever it is that you require to be fulfilled. So again, it's normal for Greta to be feeling how she's feeling, but the question is she going to go back on her choice? Well, that's entirely up to her. But like I said before, it is one thing to be the one that breaks up with someone, but then it's another thing to be the person to be on the receiving end of it. So let's see exactly how Matthew decided to react to that.
Last night, Greta ended our relationship without warning.
Let's talk about that sentence, without warning. Without warning. What does that mean? Does it mean that he's saying, it's not like she came up to him one day and said, listen, Matthew, I have a few issues. I have a few concerns. And these are the things I would like to address so we can work on them. Maybe that is what he means when he says without any mention, without any warning. Because I guess really and truly, sometimes if we are in a relationship with somebody and we decide to break up with that person, it is very important to know that at least we've tried everything possible to make it work. But then sometimes we will be with people and we feel like, you know what, yeah, we could try, but do I really want to try? So maybe Matthew needs to come to terms with the fact that despite the fact that he wishes and he would have liked the fact that Greta would have at least tried, which therefore could have given him a form of a warning, he has to recognize that maybe on her side, she just didn't want to try, because no matter how many times she looked at the relationship, no matter how many times she looked at maybe the ways they could improve this or improve that, maybe she just sat there and said, but I don't think that's going to fix anything, because there is just that feeling that I just don't get from you. Because the reality is sometimes when people are seeking a relationship, they're seeking a relationship with somebody that when they meet them, everything just fits, everything just clicks. Some people aren't looking to be with somebody that they have to coach, that they have to manage, that they have to tell them, this is how I want you to be. Because really and truly, if you fall in the trap of being with somebody where you have to tell them how you want them to be, well then that's how you can end up either one, becoming controlling, becoming a parent to that person. So sometimes in life, you won't get a warning because that person just knows you're just not that person. So really and truly, for him to say with that warning, sorry to say this, buddy, but get over it. Because sometimes warning isn't something that we all get. There's many people in this world that walk around with no closure whatsoever. And to be fair, sometimes there is actually no closure to be given. There is that part. And to be fair, she did say to him that for the past 6 months, I haven't really felt connected to you. I haven't been able to reciprocate anything that you've been given to me. Anything that you've given to me, I just haven't been able to give it back. And I was literally hoping that maybe when I came and saw you, things would change. But I've come here within 4 days and nothing has changed. So even though she probably didn't give him the warnings within those 6 months about how she's feeling, I will say this, her behavior would have definitely been a warning, because like she said, she wasn't reciprocating anything that he was giving towards her. So the fact that you wasn't receiving, the fact that you was giving so much to her, but you wasn't receiving it back, that was your warning. So sometimes in life, the warning that we look for is actually there. But some people just want their hand to be held and they want someone to tell them, I'm warning you. People need to pay attention to the signs and not ignore them.
But she always respected your opinion, and I think you're one of the few people she would listen to. Have a talk with her. If this relationship ends, I want to at least say we gave it a good shot, that we tried.
There's nothing wrong in any shape or form with wanting to know that you tried, that you gave it your all. But sometimes we don't always get that opportunity, because sometimes that person doesn't really care for that. And to be fair with you, I find it to be quite nasty work that he's going to this person here and he's expecting this person to go and speak to Greta to convince her. If you are going to stick in a relationship because you had to convince someone to stay, understand your relationship is more likely going to be on its last legs. Your relationship is always going to be on that little thread that says we can break up at any time. This person can walk away at any given time. I don't really personally believe in trying to convince someone to stick around personally, because, well, if they wanted to be around me, well, then they'd be around me. Vice versa, do you see what I'm saying? But if I have to put myself in a position where now I'm having to plea why you should stay, highlight all the good things and all that kind of stuff, well, the sad thing about that is that why am I the one that's actually noticing all the good things and you haven't been noticing the good things? So it tells me that clearly I'm in a headspace where I want to notice and enjoy all these good things because of how I feel about you. But if you are not in a headspace where you want to notice all these good things that we have, then that tells me how you feel about me. It tells me how you feel about this relationship. Because I kid you not, everybody's probably been through this experience or will be through this experience where you can be with somebody and when they leave you, they can say all these things about, oh yeah, I'm just not ready, or it's just not working for me, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, a week later on, you see them someone else. Hold on a minute, I thought you wasn't ready. It's never the case that somebody wasn't ready for a relationship. It's just a case where somebody just didn't want one with you. That's just that's what it is in a nutshell. But people always want to turn a blind eye to that type of information. But hey, that is entirely up to people, isn't it now? Now, with that being said, we're going to move on to the next couple for this episode, okay? Let's get into the cycle. Madeline. Let's get into Madeline and Luke and see exactly what went down with these two.
We're going to get married, we're going to start life together, so whatever lot that you want for us to live in, alright, don't mind putting that in our name.
I don't understand you. Do you know he's not just one lot? We're gonna have to share.
Still going to keep these.
This guy loves to withhold information and then reveal it like at any given last minute. He wonders why these two have issues all the time.
I will, under my name, because all of this is coming from the investment that I put in for this. Thing that we saw today, they're going to go in my name, and I'll put a lot in our name. Sir, yes, we can compromise. We will have a lot in our name.
Will you change your mind?
All of this was going to be mine.
I ask a simple question.
You know when somebody is done with your BS? Somebody knows how you answer your stuff. I'm asking you a bloody question, young man. Tell me now. Did you change your goddamn mind or not?
It'll be my name.
Okay. Good to know.
Okay. I don't really want to put our name on anything, because I don't want to get divorced the next day and lose half my...
You know what I would never understand? Why do people get married when they fear that this person may stab them in the back? You know, that's a conversation we really have to have here. Why are you getting married to somebody who you fear is going to divorce you the next day and take all of your stuff? Doesn't that tell you that this person isn't for you? Doesn't that tell you that clearly getting married to this person is not the right move? Why make that choice? Doesn't make any sense. It's the same as people who get married with the intention of having a prenup or even a postnup, whatever. So why did you marry that person? Why did you propose to that person? Like, I'd be damned if I decide to marry someone and the first thing that I'm going to propose before we get married, after we get married, is this whole prenup, postnup type situation. Because then that tells me clearly, I don't trust you. But of course, I understand in life sometimes you can be with someone and you could feel like you do trust this person, you feel like this person makes you feel whole. And then there's people in your ear who tell you that you must get a prenup just in case. And let's be real, if people can get in your head about getting a prenup and you decide to get one, that tells you everything you need to know. It tells you that people's opinions about your relationship or people's warnings about what could potentially happen carries more weight than your own trust that you have for that person. Does that what I'm saying? So when people do that, that means all they're really doing is really tapping into your subconscious mind. And that subconscious part of you really tells you that maybe you don't trust that person. Either way, Luke is out here every single week being threatened about, oh, well, don't be with me then. Every week she says, don't be with me. And he still wants to go ahead and marry the woman. This goes back to what I was saying with Matthew and Greta. Why would you be with somebody that clearly doesn't show the same energy back? We talk about reciprocation, okay, when it came to Matthew and Greta. Let's talk about reciprocation when it comes to these two. Why are they getting married? Because each time she gets upset, she threatens him with not getting married. But then the moment that he says, okay, fine, we won't get married, maybe I'm not the guy for you, she backtracks. That should tell him everything he needs to know. If there's a relationship that is more clear than anything else when it comes to not getting married between Luke and Madeline compared to Greta and Matthew, I feel like that's a no-brainer, folks, but let's get into it.
What the is going on?
Are you telling me that you're pregnant right now?
Many times we even be careful when we have sex. And
Well, it looks like Madeline may be pregnant. I mean, throughout the whole episode, she was showing signs of pregnancy, being sick, not feeling too good. Everything was literally showing signs of somebody that is pregnant. So it looks like there's a chance that she is. I mean, I would assume that she would have also missed her time in the month. You know, because usually that's one of the biggest signs, isn't it? And to be fair, I do find it kind of strange sometimes when some women be like, oh my God, I missed my time in a month. And I do find it strange because a lot of the time women are usually on the ball. Like, I mean, to be honest, it's very rare for me to ever come across a woman that doesn't keep tabs on when their time in the month is going to be. So when they skip it, so when it goes by, it's like, how did you forget? You know about this time in the month all the time. Like, you've been living with your whole life. But then again, at the same time, there are some people that do have an irregular time in the month where it's not always necessarily at the same time. Some of them last a few days, some of them last a couple of days, some of them last whatever. Do you see what I'm saying? So I do understand it does differ depending on the woman. But anyway, I'm not a woman, so what the hell am I talking about? But with that being said, Greta and Luke, Luke and Madeline. Imagine these two having a child, bringing a baby into this world. Considering how unstable their relationship is. Boy. I keep saying this. I find that in this life, for some reason, the right people seem to not be able to conceive having children, and the wrong people seem to be able to conceive having children. Blows my mind. Yeah. Well, with that being said, let's move on to the next couple, okay? Now we're going to move on to Jenny and Summit. You know, Jenny's an interesting one. For somebody who claims they want to move out and doesn't want to live with his family, she definitely has a way of not really trying to make it work, if that makes sense. Let's get into what I mean.
I don't have change. How much will you have given back? How? You gave me 500. I gave you change of rupees 500. Sam, all the change I given to you.
I thought Anil was giving me back the change to give back to the customer. And it turns out I gave him all his money back.
You know, funny enough, the first time they opened this restaurant, or cafe, shall I say, and they were giving out freebies, well, freebies that were pretty much bigger than freebies. Jenny was having a whole meltdown about how they were just wasting money by giving away all this food for free. Fast forward now, and she's the one that's literally giving customers back their money. My apologies. So it's interesting, isn't it, when it comes to Jen? I don't know if this woman knows what the hell's going on half the time. You complain about them not bringing money in, but then you're giving customers back literally. So instead of giving someone their change back, she's giving person their money back. So therefore that person's walking away with a free coffee. Make it make sense. But to be honest with you, it's more the attitude that's the problem here.
Please do the simple math. I know you can do it.
No, I don't understand that.
No, it's just simple math. You know, doesn't matter. You need take out your phone. Just calculate like that.
No, I cannot. I already tried.
How can you tell someone that no, you cannot bring out your phone to do calculations? I mean, to be fair, it's quite concerning that she can't calculate in the first place, but Leo, is it really that hard? But to be fair, at the same time, what kind of till do they have? Because normally the time when you go to a cashier's till and they type in obviously how much somebody has given them and how much the product is, it tells you how much you must give that person back anyway. So what kind of system do they have? Because him saying that she needs to bring out her phone to do the calculations is hella concerning. This business is a calamity. I mean, it's being run by two bozos for starters, but you know, it is what it is.
I don't want to deal with the money. Copy you.
Lucky. If you buy something for 60 and somebody pay you 100, it's easy, give them 40 back. What they do, you just give everything, like, okay, keep it.
Can't be told what to do, how to do it, if I'm doing it good or bad. We need this business to be a success, but I don't think I'm
They need the business to be a success, but yet she's not willing to put in the work to make it a success.
going to last there for very long.
About this.
I'm not going to be up here being embarrassed.
I'm sorry, Jenny, but if you want to move out of Summit's parents' house, you're going to have to last there for as long as it takes. There is no options here. But she's acting as if she's got options out here. But listen, if she doesn't want to, if she's happy living underneath the same roof as his parents, then hey, lady, quit the job and be on your way, do what you got to do. You know what I mean? Do what you got to do. But yeah, that's not necessarily the case. It's weird, isn't it? She's got an agenda to leave the house, but yet doesn't want to put in the work to leave the house. That is quite funny, to be fair, because that reminds me of like certain people that live in certain countries sometimes. You know what? You know when you get people who live in a certain country, right? They're born and raised in that country, but yet they never want to take those jobs that are low paid, or those jobs that are actually involving keeping the streets clean or looking after people in nursing homes. They don't want to have those jobs. They want to work in retail, but then they'll complain when a foreigner comes over and then takes all those jobs that they don't want to do. You know them kind of people, right? If you know, you know, because wait, Jenny's that kind of person, you know, that kind of person that will complain and complain and complain, but never want to be a part of actually fixing the problem, or actually being a part of the people that says, you know what, I do these jobs. But hey, but that's a whole other conversation that we don't need to have. I just find it funny because Jenny's giving me that kind of energy, to be honest with you. Some people in this world, eh? Entitlement. And to be honest with you, one thing that I really want to know is this. Is Jenny ever happy? All I ever do is see this woman just always being, just being mad. Like her temper's quick. But let's not forget though, obviously, you know, there are the rumors of her being a alcoholic. So who knows? Maybe she's having one of those days where she needs a fix of alcohol and she's not getting it right now. So she's losing the lid. Who knows? But with that being said though, let's get into the last couple. So when it comes to Menon and Anthony, well. Most of these episodes so far we've had with Menon and Anthony, we've experienced one simple thing, and that is Anthony, in my opinion, pretty much gaslighting his wife most of the time. And also withholding information sometimes for his own little bants, because, you know, that's how his banter works, apparently. Well, fast forward to now, it looks like Menon is now on the other side of doing things that involve withholding information from her partner, which of course he's about to find out now. But the thing that makes it worse is that these two moved from LA to Marseille for a reason. The question is, have they been able to fulfill that reason so far? Well, we're about to find out.
But the thing is that Anthony thinks that I've been spending almost all my days at Dorian's office for the past 2-3 weeks to just work on the paperwork to get in the house. I'm also here to actually build that business from the ground up with Dorian.
I'm not really surprised. This was always going to happen. If Anthony is not working, he's not bringing money into the house, and therefore it's taking him longer to leave her parents' house, this was always going to happen. Because, well, look at this. One, what she does can be done internationally. And also, two, she's the only one that speaks French properly within their relationship. Up until this episode, though, but this episode, Anthony revealed that he can actually now understand a certain level of French, which is really, really good, to be fair with you. But either way, though, let's not forget, folks, why did they leave LA? Ah, yes. They left LA so Menon could become a full-time mom for the most part, or at least full-time mom and part-time worker, right? And why Anthony goes on and becomes a breadwinner. Which of course hasn't happened, but that was supposed to be the plan, because that was supposed to allow her to get closer to their child and also make their marriage a lot stronger. Now, in terms of getting closer to her child, that's something that has happened, but in terms of their marriage, I don't know if it's got any better. But either way though, here's the thing, somebody who's a workhorse, you can never stop them from being a workhorse. And Menon is somebody who is a what? A workhorse. So that's why this didn't surprise me. But let's get into the rest of it.
So remember that I want to have my own skincare brand, right? You said you'd be very supportive, right? Yes, I have been working on the paperwork for the house. Yes. But mostly, we already started working together.
I love the way she started off the whole conversation. She was like, the skin brand that I spoke about, yes. The way she's like, yes, that one. You know, when somebody does that, they do that because they're like, remember the one that I spoke about that you basically kind of like approved? Yeah, I've basically started doing it because you gave me the approval like way back. So yeah, remember that one? But well, listen, obviously their main concern is obviously moving out, but she's saying that there's an opportunity here. I mean, to be fair, when the opportunity comes, there's nothing wrong with taking it.
On the skincare brand, and we need to invest money. We met with the agency today who are going to help us build a very strong business plan, and to get started it's around like $5,000, $10,000. I'll find more money.
I mean, to be fair, the good thing about the conversation is that she came into it by at least saying to him, I'm going to find a way to get more money, because the money that they have, the money they're supposed to be using right now is for them to get a home. That's what that's for, not for her to start a business. So it's a good thing that she's not necessarily looking to take money from that account. She's looking to obviously bring the money in, but at the same time, she does make it clear that if she's unable to bring that money in, well then she may have to dip into the money for the housing. Which really and truly, if I'm Anthony in this conversation, I'm saying hell no. That's not going to happen. If you want to start your business, you want to have the opportunity, that is fine. You do what you got to do. But for us to be able to move out to your parents' house and live with just ourselves and our kid, that's not going to happen. And also on top of that, Anthony does make it clear that he's more than happy to go back to being a stay-at-home dad, because Mignon has made it abundantly clear that she's not a stay-at-home mother, which is fine. So I can imagine for him to want to be a stay-at-home dad, he's going to obviously want to do it in an environment that makes more sense, which obviously would be their home with just himself, Mignon, and their son, rather than looking after their son underneath her parents' house. To be fair, yeah, that would probably suck, to be fair, wouldn't it? So it makes sense.
I can contact my network. I'll find another gig or something, just temporarily.
Don't think this is like too much too fast?
Anthony, there's no perfect timing.
I'm not talking about it in that sense. I'm good staying at home with Ben. You're going to know Dorian, when you started your business, did you still have that balance with your family, or was it like work all the time?
So here's the thing, obviously she talks about getting a side gig, which is obviously where the issue comes into place, because if she's getting a side gig now to be able to earn more money to make this thing happen, this is where the issue comes in terms of the fact that she's going to be at home less, just the way she was in LA. In LA, she wasn't at home that often to see her husband, she wasn't home often to be there for her child. So this is obviously going back in a full circle now, isn't it? Going back to that kind of way. But at the same time, Mignon is like, well, my friend over here, she's also a single mom too. And not a single mom, but she's also a mother too. And she's also somebody that's also an entrepreneur. And she's had to make it work, which is why Anthony's obviously asking her about this. Now, the friend does actually respond in French and gets the answer. And obviously, Anthony gets the answer that he was looking for. And that answer is, well, you're basically going to be busy the same way you was when we was in Marseille. No, when we was in LA. That's why his sister and all of us said that them moving isn't going to make a goddamn difference to their bloody relationship.
Like a typical entrepreneur is. I'm surprised Manon has chosen to tell me this in front of someone. I'm angry that I'm finding out now, and that I'm finding out in front of a friend. Are gonna be.
So this is the thing that I found quite interesting about that. He said that he's obviously unhappy that he's finding out about it now, and also in front of his friend, because obviously he can't have that conversation with her the way they're supposed to, which, listen, completely understand, completely respect what he's saying. But then when she asks him if is that okay, he agrees. I mean, to be honest with you, he should have been like, listen, we'll talk about this between me and you, and then we'll have a conclusion. But him sitting there under pressure going, okay, don't fall under pressure, buddy, but anyway.
Getting more and more involved in.
I don't know what to say. I cannot be a stay-at-home mom, and I cannot stop working. So either way, I do something, and I don't want to work just to do something. I am terrified about my relationship with Anthony, because right now I keep remembering what Sarah, his sister, said.
And what Sarah said, his sister, was that you two moving isn't going to make a difference to your relationship if you're still going to be living the same type of lifestyle, which is exactly what they've gone back to. Because Mignon said, no, I will not be working in France, okay? It will be Anthony working, I'll be at home raising our child and building a real bond. That's what she said. But now she's obviously backtracking because that's what's happened. Like I said, if somebody is generally a natural born workhorse, they're always going to be like that. She's a workaholic. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just who she is. So really and truly, Mignon has to find a better balance of how she can be there for her child. And Anthony just needs to get over it. It's just that simple. You know, he's got to get over the fact that he's married to somebody who's a workaholic. And work is going to be always, I guess, low-key number one priority. Boy, yeah, the choices that we make.
I'm like, yeah, my problem came with me, but also new problem arises, and I'm like,
Do that. But if you're gonna talk about like a certain type of tone we should talk to each other, that goes both ways.
wow, okay.
I mean, to be fair, he told no lies, you know. End of the day, they both definitely did work on how they address each other, because how they address each other sometimes is not good, especially the way Mignon goes about it. She's always ready to raise her voice, but as you can see, she was like, oh, so it's like that now, okay. To be fair, that's a reaction of somebody saying, I speak the way I speak because of the way you trigger me. That's what she's trying to say, but at the same time, should we always react just because somebody has triggered us? Probably not. So yeah, there is that part too. So Mignon could easily just grow up in terms of that mentality, isn't it now? Well, with that being said, definitely want to know what you guys think down below in the comments section regarding, of course, the most recent episode. But when it comes to Anthony and Mignon, the chance of their relationship improving, yeah, it's not looking good. I mean, well, sorry, my apologies, not improving. When it comes to their relationship changing in the way it was supposed to, it's not looking good. And when I say supposed to, is what I mean is that, generally speaking, what was supposed to happen between these two is she was meant to stop working or work less, and he was meant to start working, and obviously that's not going to happen. And I believe even now in real time, she's still the breadwinner, she's still the one that's the workaholic, and he is just there building a Twitch stream of him playing games, which is fine. I mean, that's what he wants to do. That's what he wants to do. And also, if his wife gives him the finances for him to be able to stay at home and try and build his social media brand, do what you got to do. Do you see what I'm saying? But hey ho. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Peace.